Thank you very much. All right, I gotta try and get 95 years of history in 15 minutes here. Fortunately for you, what I try and do with this is things that can't be done on a tour. But tomorrow, and I know this is very, very last minute, but tomorrow we're actually having tours. So if you are available, we have a tour at 10 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. and you will be able to walk on these grounds. You're not going to see just about any of this, though. 1960s, Glendale decides to widen Honolulu Avenue. There goes all the rock wall. 1971, earthquake. There goes the cool building. 1980s, and I love this one, a delivery truck is just a little too tall, takes out the Rockhaven. So they put Rockhaven, and that's the one that you'll see now. But what is still there is this flagpole. And I tell you, I have been looking forward to someday being able to raise a flag up that pole, but to have it saluted this morning was just so darn awesome. So in the Crescenta Valley, there were as many as 24 various sanitariums, some of them respiratory, many of them for mentally challenged. We had Kimball's, we had Hillcrest, which was up Lowell, yeah, and it's now a big housing development. And it makes me wonder, if you're going to be thinking about those poltergeist kinds of things where you've got, if you're building on top of something interesting. But what's really cool is Dunsmore was once a mental sanitarium, and those walls were created by a gentleman who owned that, and his therapy for losing his wife and child was to put all those beautiful rocks and all those very interesting items into the walls. Given to the City of Glendale, they created a park. Interesting. Wonder if that could happen again. Agnes Richards immigrated from Germany to Nebraska. And as I stand here and I look out at these amazing hills and think, yeah, that's the reason why she came, that's the reason why she stayed. But dang, it's 37 degrees out there. And we've got Rick in shorts. Talk about a city native. She, as soon as she was old enough, she went to work at the Chronic Insane Asylum in Hastings, Nebraska. So what was that back then? Maybe you were 14? You were able to start working? So from there, she meets her husband, Mr. Travis. This is Agnes Mercedes Lipinski Travis Richards Hickman. She moves with him to Chicago, and they have a son, but shortly after he is born, Mr. Travis passes away. So she puts herself through nursing school at Cook County Hospital. She serves with the Red Cross during World War I, where the doctor that she worked with when the war is over says, come on out with me and we'll work out in San Bernardino. From San Bernardino, I'll get to it when I see the picture, Patton State Hospital. She then goes and gets her RN at LA County Hospital, and she decides during this time that she is appalled at the treatment of mental patients, particularly women. She has seen it all, and she has learned a great deal as well. So here we got Cook County Hospital. Here we've got Patton, and I absolutely love that because you've got the Lunacy Commission has decided that you're going to be put away for an unknown amount of time, and they're driving you up to that. Now, actually, I've been out there on a tour. It's a fabulous place. All of that is gone over the ages, and it was really, the other pictures that I've seen, rather beautiful, but that is just so gothic, the idea that you just don't know what's going to happen there. This is what LA Hospital looked like when she was working there. This is what it looked like after she left. And she comes out to the Crescenta Valley, and she finds these. Now, what was it like for women at the time? This is a whole bunch of fabulous stories that I don't know if I've got time to get to. So which one will I get to? Well, this is Zelda Fitzgerald. She was 40 when she was checked into a mental hospital, and a fire started in the kitchen, and they were locked in. And so she and several other mental patients died. Christine is my absolute favorite, though, because she's a local lady from Lincoln Park. She was a working mom with a young boy who always walked himself home after school, and one day she gets home and he's not there. So she goes to the police, it becomes a humongous thing, they're all looking for him, and a boy shows up at the police station and says, "I'm him." And she comes up to the LA police chief, who is presenting the boy and presenting Christine and saying, "We have solved this case." And she says, "That's not my son." And he says, "Yes, it is. We have solved this case." And she says, "No, really, that's not my son." He says, "Look, a lot of trauma has happened. You're not going to recognize him. He's going to look really different. Take him home. Try him out to see that's what you're saying."
Oh my God.
She takes him home. She bathes him. That is not her son. And she goes back to the police chief and says, "No, I'm sorry, this isn't my boy." He says, "You are an unfit mother. You are insane," and locks her away in LA County Hospital. The only reason she got out is because they interviewed the boy and he said no, he wasn't actually her son. He just wanted a free trip out to meet Tom Mix. Yeah, it's that easy. It's that easy. I've got tons of stories I can tell you about. But see, and one of my other favorites is the whole idea. Dumbo was in trouble. And his mom was trying to protect him. And what was she doing? She was raging to protect her child. And they called her a mad elephant and locked her away. Misunderstood, locked away, no chance of getting out. Oh, one of my other favorites didn't actually happen here. I just learned about a woman who was put away for non-compliance. She disagreed with her husband in politics and religion, and she got put away. The only reason why she got out is because her son came of age and asked that she be released. It's that easy. So Agnes needs to do something different. She comes out to the Crescenta Valley. She finds our fabulous verdigos. She finds the gorgeous oak trees, and best of all, she finds this 2-story rock facade house. She brings with her 6 women, some chickens, items to be able to create a garden, because the women are going to get out. They're not going to get locked away. They're going to be active. They're going to recover. They have mild mental and nervous disorders. They do not need to be locked away. They need an opportunity to get over what's going on and get back into their situations. This is such a good thing that inside of a year, she now has 24 women. So she begins purchasing houses that are already around her property, starting with the Rose Cottage. Now, the Rose Cottage is actually facing another direction. But this is Agnes Richards. She has it lifted up and turned around to face another direction to start forming a compound where all the walkways connect to each other, to gathering areas, to be getting outside. All these beautiful, literal homes for a home-like setting. Keeps growing. 1929. She starts having the Prescott Brothers of Glendale construct Spanish colonial revival dorms. So there's more space, there's more gardens, there's more wonderfulness to be able to enjoy. The outside areas are what's most important. We've got the fabulous little fountain, there are little statues everywhere. We've got this little gathering area that's still there with the faux bois furniture. Faux bois actually just means fake wood, but it sounds really classy if you've got fake bois. As Agnes would travel, she would send back pots and statues and all these amazing things. People tell me, I'd love to go visit Grandma and sit outside by the fountain area. Where's that one statue that was here? This is our favorite, and you have to see her because she's absolutely amazing. 1920s Gladys McBean statue called Reclining Nude, which does not even come close to describing how fabulous she is. She's got little bitty fingernails and little bitty toenails, and she's looking up at the sun, and she's just basking and relaxing and recovering. And we asked her granddaughter where this could have possibly come from. She said, "I don't know, it was just always there as long as I knew." But then she goes on to tell me that her Uncle Max worked down at the Gladys McBean factory in Tropico. So we discovered that Uncle Max was able to bring in not just roof tiles that are on many of the buildings, but also our fabulous statue that we now call the Lady of Rockhaven. Agnes did well. Agnes did very well. Now, Patricia says you don't make money running a sanitarium. What she did was she invested. Now, this is a very impressive woman because not only was her investment able to get her to support the sanitarium, to have her building between 1929 and 1939, what was happening in 29 through 39? Depression. She kept people working and constructing and building and taking care of women. She is able to have this fabulous home. She takes care of her mom, she takes care of her grandchildren, puts them in private school, and on top of that is involved in the community in exceptional ways. She is charter member and past president of the Altar Society of the Holy Redeemer and helped the church get an organ. President of California Junior Symphony Orchestra, Southern California Symphony Association, La Cañada Thursday Club, Los Angeles Breakfast Club, Women's Auxiliary of California Children's Hospital, Opera Guild of Southern California, Town and Gown, Women's Committee of the Philharmonic, Ballet of Los Angeles, the Toastmistresses Club, San Francisco Opera Club, the Ebell Club, the Assistants League, La Cañada Chamber of Commerce, charter member of Pasadena Athletic Club, former director of the Crescent Cañada Bank, and her name appeared in the California Social Register and the Blue Book. This was a very active, very giving, very wonderful and remarkable woman. She gets tired. You can't blame her. Who better to leave in charge than your granddaughter? This is the fabulous Patricia Travis. This isn't what she wanted to do, but Grandma needed help. And so she's gonna help Grandma. And she steps in and she starts doing amazing things. So here's our fabulous Agnes. Here's Patricia and the two sisters who became sisters. One of them left and now lives in Texas, and the other one has remained. She's about to turn 90 and has been serving for 70 years now, I think. Patricia is smart enough that she brings in a gentleman by the name of Ivan Cole, who is from Wales. And he has come out here to help his brother at the Cole Burkhart's nursery in Pasadena. Any glimmer of recognition? We just lost Burkhardt, so not as many people are going to know about this, but it's really impressive to know that they had a partnership. Mr. Cole left to take care of his greenhouses in the San Fernando Valley, so that means that Ivan needs to find another job, and he finds Rockhaven. And he takes this 3.5 acres and he does incredible things with it. There's thank you cards for the way that the roses look during the Mother's Day tea. This was his favorite tree. He said it would sparkle like a jewel, but things like this. The fact, not even Disneyland is the best place that you can find anything like that with the concentric circles and the flowers leading. It's just amazing to me. And he loved it so much. He said that working there made life worthwhile. Patricia puts her knowledge and abilities to great use by having all kinds of activities for the women. Children would come in, people would come in and do bridge with the ladies. I love this because this is a woman that has white carpet and French provincial furniture and lives in Flint Ridge, but here she is in a bunny suit for Easter for these women. And of course, she would also bring in the Del Rubio triplets, of course. Entertainers would come in. Some of these pictures, look at the look on this face. Oh my goodness, what a treat for her to be able to be sitting there with Santa Claus and she's got her little thing. But this is the one that really gets to me because that face is not here. That face is a young girl who's remembering being with a horse when she was younger. I just think that's absolutely marvelous, the things that she was able to do for them. Sometimes it's a little worrisome because here we've got Wally and Dolly and okay. But I'm certain that the women just loved when Carlos Velasco came to entertain with his guitar. They would get out if they could. We got, who remembers the tram at Descansa Gardens? They would go to the park. They would go to lunch. She would take them shopping if they had the ability to. In the 1950s, Thorazine came along and treatment changed. You could be treated at home. You didn't need to be put away anymore. Well, it's not like you need to be put away for going through menopause anyway, but the focus on the treatment there became more about aging issues and dementia and Alzheimer's. But she knew that if you kept a person occupied in the here and now, that they were less likely to go back in their minds and become confused. So she's bringing in people to do occupational therapy. They're coming up with all of these crafts. The chef is doing nutrition classes. I showed that picture to a gentleman whose grandmother worked there, and he said, "Oh, chef, I remember chef, he used to make these little cinnamon rolls. They were awful." Ivan would do gardening classes, and he says, you know, I'm going to tell them about all the botany, and it turns out you show a picture, and they say, I remember having that plant in my garden when I was a little girl, and it just dissolved from there. But that, bell choir, that's a lot of coordination. That gentleman's able to get these women to do a bell choir. This was such a nice place to be able to be that it attracted the rich and famous. Anybody recognize who's up in the corner here? Here's our hint. Glendale, yeah, that's Billy Burke. She was married to Flo Ziegfeld of Ziegfeld Follies, and lots of Follies girls followed. These are fabulous stories to go along with these marvelous women. This one over here did vaudeville. She traveled all over the world dancing with her husband. This is Clark Gable's first wife. They also had Clark Gable's fourth wife's sister stayed there. Spike Jones had a presence in the Crescenta Valley, and his mom was able to be here. Our most infamous guest is over there on the left. That is Marilyn Monroe's mom. She suffered from what is now believed to be bipolar paranoia and had a need to try and escape a lot. Come and see the window out which she had to dramatically tie sheets together and go out of, and makes it all the way out to Shadow Hills before they find her. And a local boy, Louis Deisbeck, took this photo when he found out that they had found her. And that's why she was a lovely, lovely woman, but I used that picture because local boy was able to get that shot. But it wasn't just the rich and famous. Remarkable women of all kinds were able to do fantastic things. And of course, I don't have my sheet of paper that has their names. Yes, I do. I'll only tell you about a couple of them. Things like one of the earliest stewardesses, you had to have a nursing degree to be able to be a stewardess. The fabulous Francesca Radzawan, she flew those planes. She trained men how to fly those planes. And when she was done training them, she'd just fly them around the country to get them to different locations. This was a woman who was one of the first black women trained at both SC and USC, but of course, because she's black, she can't get a job. She becomes a social worker for the county, and when LAUSD changes their policies, she went to work as a truant officer. And I have to talk about Tamaye Shijumashu because, of course, she was a woman who was put into Manzanar. And it was there that she met her husband, and they got married and had food trucks. But I just learned from one of the nurses that when she showed up, this nurse had to follow her around the walls of Rockhaven for hours because as a young lady, she was inside walls. And for the first time, again, she has to be put inside walls and she has to try and understand that.
Oh, we're missing something here.
Ah! There we go. Mothers, daughters, aunts, cousins, grandmothers. When you affect the life of a woman, you affect the life of her family. And Agnes Richards and Patricia Travis were able to do that in remarkable ways and give them beautiful, dignified treatment. I had a woman come on one of my very first tours and she said, I need to see the spot where my mother passed away. I wasn't able to be here. So we take her into a really rundown room and it is really pretty sad, and she looks at it with this faraway look. She's not seeing the room as it is now. She sees it the way that it was when she dropped her mother off. And she said, you're not supposed to talk to them for a while because they need to adjust to the fact that this is now their home. There really isn't an outside life for a while. So she calls to check on her mom. And she says, I want to know how Mrs. Smith is doing. I said, she's doing great. She said, no, I mean Betty Smith. Because when she dropped her off, she was biting, kicking, belligerent. And she said, no, she's doing absolutely wonderfully. We really enjoy having her there. By getting dignified treatment, by being dressed well, her nails done, people visiting her, her hair done, it changed the way she felt about herself and the way that she behaved herself. Okay, this is one of my favorite things ever. Things didn't always go so great. Of course, there were people that started to move in around the sanitariums. Many of the sanitariums were closing, Rockhaven remained. And the people around did not like the idea of having crazy people living nearby, even though they're the ones that moved in afterwards. So she had to sue a woman who claimed that she was not qualified to be able to operate this place, and thought that it was absolutely fabulous, or terrifying that there was only supposed to be 30, but there were 60 insane patients. And they ran screaming down the streets of the suburbs at unenjoyable hours of the night. Because there are enjoyable hours of the night to have insane people running down your streets. The woman claimed that there were men, and that is how she won, because there were never men. It was run by women, for women only. So 1980s come along, you need to start having more Disabilities Act compliance. You take beautiful stairways and you put in a ramp, but the ramp, that's not 4, I think it's supposed to be 4 degrees, that ain't 4 degrees. And there's only a couple of feet before you hit the hot water heater from the building next to it. Hold on to grandma. You got these gorgeous stairs. Unbelievable wrought iron work from the Huntington Iron Works in La Cañada, and it gets cut off because you need to have a ramp. You're taking buildings from the 1930s and you're trying to bring them up to 21st century compliance. Patricia is done in 2001. She's been doing this longer than her grandmother has. So she sells to the Ararat company. Pardon me. They operated as best they can for 5 years, but they can't get the permits that they need to build the state-of-the-art Alzheimer's unit that they want to do. So they end up selling. Everybody says, no, we don't want this leveled and to have housing there, because this is our heritage. This is unique in that it is the last representation of what was all over the Crescenta Valley from Topanga Canyon out to the Arroyo. Up California, if you didn't come out for gold, you came out for your health. You came to a sanitarium to be taken care of. They said in California was incorporated in 1858, and 1859 they opened the first sanitarium. So California's always been filled with nuts. And fortunately, we had a gentleman on the council who was smart enough to work out this fabulous plan to be able to move the Montrose Library over onto the property over here, be able to create a park and the history for everyone in Glendale. And at that moment, the economy then tanked, and they said, well, we'll shutter this for a little while, we'll get back to it. Getting back to it 5 years later was a new city councilman who went, ooh, surplus property, let's sell this. And there were people that wanted to come in and, level it. Okay, no, we won't level it. We'll just put housing all along this garden area and all over here and all the way back here. And we stepped in and said, no, new guy, this is our heritage. This was bought to be a park and we want a park. And the Friends of Rockhaven has been fighting for 4 years. Inching forward little bit by little bit, we got it listed on the California and national registries, which everybody goes, hooray, it's now protected. Well, no, because the people that they wanted to sell it to wanted to put a building over the protected gardens. This is not an easy fight to battle at this moment, because they go, yeah, history, let's build on it. Let's protect the outsides of the buildings. Walk anywhere and you will see the exteriors of these buildings in Pasadena, Glendale, all sorts of beautiful architecture. It's the insides that matter right now, protected. 1932 tile. Where are you going to see that? Even people, if people have left it in their houses, you're not allowed in to go in and say, hi, can I come see the tile in your bathroom? Chances are they've changed it because they gotta live there. If businesses move in, they've gotta change the interiors to be able to make it work for them. Right now, if we make this into a museum, you'll be able to see this. Your kids will be able to see this and say, look at grandma lived in a place that looked like this. There was tile that had vibrant colors. In this building, there was this lavender, there's a green, there's a yellow. In another building, there's a rose, a blue, colors that are really, really vibrant because of the cancer-causing materials that were used back then that you're not gonna see now. This is Rockhaven. This is the reason why it needs to be saved, and not just for a hotel where people have to pay $320 a night to be able to experience that. This needs to be opened to everybody to be able to find their rest and rehabilitation. It's now owned by the city. to be a park. It's owned by the public, it's owned by us, but we can only get on it twice a month. If you have an opportunity and you can't come on the tour tomorrow, then email me and I will let you know if we get one in March. We have to get permission to be able to be allowed on the property. And come and experience what it's like to be inside those walls for yourself.
Thank you. Do we have one question?
No,
Okay.
I just want to say how proud I was during my tenure on the Parks and Rec Commission that we bought this property and so that it would be a park.
Right?
Right.
Right? They're trying to deny. Nobody wrote anything down, so we don't know what they really meant. Oh.
We know. We know.
Don't mess with Joey.
I was thinking about poor Kim, who's like, laugh when you want to, and it's also, I'm a dork. I'm laughing all the time.
Great. Well, I wanted to thank you for being here. Our theme is Good is the New Cool. So since you love history, there's one of our pins from our club, and it's the Alex Theater with our little rotary wheel on
Totally.
top.
Oh, how awesome. Thank you.
And then this is just a little thank you gift. You made a difference in our lives today. And this is made by a woman that is trying to raise her family out of poverty. So you're here today and you've helped people around the world.
Women. Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you. So round of applause for